guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're talking about preparing the elderly or vulnerable for the power cuts. I've done a video a couple of days ago, had loads of views, and at the same time had loads of comments, a lot of emails, because some of you felt concerned about how the elderly or vulnerable are going to be dealing in that kind of situation. So a few of you suggested that it's probably a good idea for me to put the video forward just to give you basic ideas on how to make sure that they're prepared in that kind of situation. So without further ado, let's proceed. It is fairly straightforward list and somewhat a bit of common sense, but I think it's a good idea if somebody who is worried, it gives you a kind of starting point of preparedness, if you wish. So let's go through. So number one, okay, and again, we covered this on a previous video in a huge details, but we're talking about somebody on a medical devices. Depending on what it is, okay, just make sure you have a backup source. If it's absolutely paramount that this device is powered constantly, even if we're talking about, 1 or 2 or 3 hour power cuts, then make sure you have yourself another power source, be it a solar rechargeable generator that you can recharge inside the house, or a UPS system. As I said, I've covered this in the different videos before, but this is the paramount importance if some of them relying on a medical devices. So number 2, guys, let's go with lighting. Lighting is super important, especially if you're elderly and if the power cuts happen during the dark times. In the winter, we know it gets dark pretty early, so having a light is paramount. One of the things I strongly suggest is avoid candles. When we talk about our preparedness, I'm all for it because I have things like a lanterns and places to put the candles. I'm fully aware, and I will be fully alert when the candles are there. However, with elderly, because they do like to sort of nap there and then, they sometimes fall asleep, and I think having the candles in those scenarios could be really, really unsafe. So I do strongly suggest against them. There are, however, loads of options of battery-powered lights and lanterns, torches, solar-powered garden lights, solar-powered inside lights, and rechargeable lights of all kinds. I also would like to suggest a motion-sensed lights. We've got a few of those around the house. Again, they come in different shapes and sizes. They're fairly inexpensive. They could be rechargeable or they could be battery powered, but you can stick them on the wall, and if some days go by, okay, the lights will come on for a few seconds and then they turn themselves off. In this way, they preserve power or the battery and they'll last you for quite a while. But this is kind of gives you an idea that in the dark times, if they need to get to the bathroom or somewhere else, the lights will come on and they'll be safe. They can see where they're going. At the same time, it might sound to you like a bit of an odd one, but I think it's a very good one. You can buy a glow-in-the-dark tape. Yep, you heard me correctly. It's one of those things on a roll. It generally comes in sort of like a white creamy color, but it glows quite brightly green in the dark. And I do strongly suggest you don't cheap out on that, because there are some that are really rubbish and they won't last that long, or won't glow as dark, or won't glow as bright, but there are there on the market. And just think about it. Again, it sounds odd, but stairs, doorways, anywhere they keep their other medical equipment or the tablets, stick the tape round and it will glow in the dark. So there's no light required. You don't have to worry about it. Once you stuck it on, okay, it will glow in the dark, but it makes an absolute game changer. So next thing on my list is communications. First of all, make sure you print the list of all the contact information they need, be it for yourself, for the carers, for the neighbors, for the doctors, whoever else they will need to be in touch with. Secondly, okay, make sure you tape that or place this somewhere accessible, okay? At the same time, make the letters big, so if they can't get up to get there, they can see the numbers a little bit from the distance. At the same time, of course, you have to put those numbers in a mobile phone if they have one. If maybe not, maybe consider getting a cheapy mobile phone. You can pick them up very inexpensively. And then you can create emergency contact lists with a speed dial. And of course, at the same time, if you do have a mobile phone, make sure you do have a spare power bank and a cable. As we know, if the elderly don't particularly use the mobile phones that much, the power will stay, or they will stay powered for a good few days. But just in case, to be able to have a power bank and a cable there for them, in case they forget to charge it, in case it runs out of power, they will know that they have an extra battery to be able to power the phone and use that as an emergency. Because chances are, if the power goes out, the phone lines will be down as well. For a longer power outages, I do suggest to arrange check-ins. Again, I'm pretty sure you'll be fully aware of that, but make sure if you don't live locally, or if you do, obviously you pop in yourself, If you're not live locally, make sure you have a carer or neighbor that can pop in and check on them, make sure they're okay, and make sure they can give them help with something if needed. So next thing, guys, is water and food. Again, pretty basic, but it is absolutely very, very important. First of all, I will say again, let's go with water. Everybody needs water, okay, whether it be for hygiene or, of course, drinking. I suggest stocking up on a small, manageable size bottles, because not everybody can lift a 5-liter heavy bottle, especially if it's somewhere on the ground. So if you do stock up on water, make sure they're little bottles and make sure they're easily accessible, so they're not stacked on the floor when they have to bend down and potentially hurt themselves. Make sure there's somebody on the shelf on the level that can just grab a bottle and have a drink. And next thing obviously is food. Okay, again, I strongly advise against having alternative power sources unless you really can trust them using them. Things like a gas hobs, the ones that I suggest for generally for preppers to have indoors, okay? But then again, it requires a lot of attention. It requires the carbon monoxide alarm, a fire extinguisher, fire blanket, and the ventilation. For elderly people, it's a little bit harder to, you can explain the things, but then for them to implement that, they might potentially forget, because, well, let's be honest, things like this do happen. So to me, when you do prepare emergency food for them, is to make sure you have some ready edible foods, things like maybe crackers and peanut butter, depending what they like. Some soft bars, soft cereal bars, you know. Tins as well, you can supply them tins. Make sure they do have something that it is palatable cold, because if we're not warming things up, make sure they can snack on it kind of cold. At the same time, make sure that if you buy them in tin, make sure you get a pull cord one. If not, make sure that you do have and supply them a tin opener, but make sure that is a good one and an easy one to operate. There's so many tin openers, myself I tried, even the electric ones, and they're just absolutely rubbish. So make sure, okay, before you put that kit together, make sure you make them have a go and make sure they're physically able to use that before relying on that tin opener. So next thing is keeping warm. So clothing and blankets, really. Again, many people suggest hot water bottles. Again, I would strongly suggest against them, because I know a few elderly people that have actually burned themselves quite badly with a hot water bottle. If you think about it, you have to have strength of having a kettle in one hand. Okay, that's if you're going to burn a, if you're going to boil the kettle. But in fact, if you use other alternative heats, if they do this anyway, even if we know beforehand if the power going to go out and they're going to boil the kettle to make the hot water bottle, it requires quite a heavy lifting of a kettle and then holding a hot water bottle in the other hand and then pouring it in together. I don't have to explain to you how that works, but the hole is small, the kettle is heavy, you get the idea. I know a few people, as I said, that got really, really burned, so I really strongly suggest that you don't rely on a hot water bottle for them unless you're there and you can help them do it. So things like the layered clothing, a lot of clothing and blankets, is a really good way forward. Again, another really good option is one of those 4 emergency blankets, the ones that fold to pretty much nothing. You can have them in multiple places around the house, but make sure you explain to them how to use that, and obviously make sure they can actually open the packet, because they do kind of quite often get quite sealed quite tightly, but they're really, really good inexpensive options to have. The next thing on the list is make sure there is no tripping hazards. Just imagine if the power gone off in the middle of the evening, so it's dark, it's winter time, and obviously it gets really dark really early, and suddenly the lights went out and then they have to go somewhere trying to grab a torch or something like that, and then you have a rug that's forever lifting up and they potentially trip over it because they don't see it. Make sure, okay, that all the passageways, all the areas of the traffic where they're going from one place to another is clear of really weird rugs that, tripping hazard or any other obstruction. This is again where potentially the glowing tape could also come handy, so you can kind of direct them to the area they need to go. Another very good important point, I think, if you're not strategically placing the items they will need, is to create a box, create an emergency box for them. So have it, not per se, we're not talking about putting a food in there, but have a box when they have glasses in there, a spare pair of glasses if they need one. Again, spare list of contacts, again, the one we already printed and placed where they normally sit. Hearing aid batteries, maybe spare hearing aid, spare phone charger or phone cable, power bank, things like this they might need. But make sure as well they actually put them somewhere, but make sure you tell them where it is and make sure it is literally very easily accessible just in case. So next thing on the list, again, very straightforward, but if we're talking about no power, chances are there'll be there's no chances are there'll be no TV. So if they do rely on their entertainment for a TV, then it's going to be a little bit of trouble. But the next best thing, guys, is a basic radio. I'm not talking about the fancy prepping radios. I'm talking about normal FM radio with a battery operated. So if the lights go out, they want to sit there and they can just turn it on and listen to some music, and at least it'll be better than nothing. Next thing, and I think it's a very good one, but options have to be down to you. There are a lot of personal emergency alarms. It could be like a bracelet, it could be necklaces, it could be things you actually fit in your house that you can do a pull cord. So if somebody fell over, somebody's having a bit of trouble with whatever it is, and some of them actually can be connected to an emergency services. So again, if you're worried about that kind of thing, do some research. It's tons and tons of things available, but I think they're a really good option. And the last but not least is just to make sure they are aware of the plan. If you have created the box for them, make sure they know where the box is. Make sure if you have selected specific people to pop in and do the check-ins, make sure you let them know, because the elderly people feel more relaxed knowing if something happens, they will know that somebody will pop in without even making any sort of contact. But make sure they know where the torches are, where the things are. Let them know, say if the lights go out and they have to go to the bathroom, say you got the motion lights installed, just explain the situation to them, and I'm sure they're gonna feel more at ease with that. So here we are, guys. This is the kind of the list. As I said, it's pretty much straightforward, but hopefully whoever asks can give you an idea of a starting point of what to do and how to get them prepared. So if you guys found this video helpful, please don't forget thumbs up, really helps the video. Maybe subscribe if you haven't. The channel is all about preparedness, emergency preparedness. And well, thank you for watching, and I see you soon. Bye bye.